Hi, everybody, and welcome back to Buffalo Sports Talk of Western New York. I'm Tom Hastings, my partner, Tom. And can you feel it? Do you believe? Do you believe, Tom?
Yeah, it was a heck of an effort last night. It was a great game to watch. It was exciting from beginning to end. Sabres never trailed. They took control of the game about 4 minutes in and never looked back.
Oh, man. It's Sabres win 4-2, game one against the Canadians. The arena again looked electric. They just, as you said, took control of the game. And Tom, I'm sitting there watching it. Now, I have a problem. I had to work last night. Huh? Well, I have several problems. I think that was clear in the last video I made. But my problem is that I had to work last night. We had to do a private event, and I only was able to watch live the third period. Like the last 12 minutes, I listened to the radio and then ran into the house and watched the last 12 minutes of the game live. And then I had to rewatch the game as soon as it ended to see what I missed. And this trying to make a living thing is getting in the way of my sports passion and my Sabres fandom. So I don't know what to do. Go homeless and watch the Sabres, or continue on. I have to play a dance on Friday, so I'm going to have to do the same thing as well on Friday. But that's okay as long as the results remain the same. We're 1-0, Tom. What were you thinking at the end of the game?
I was thinking that this was a team that, we talked a lot about since this whole thing started, the depth, and that was on display again last night. Thompson and Tuck, the big guns, silent. Canadians did a good job, I think, of bottling both of them up. But it doesn't matter because you got Byram and Greenway scoring two really nice goals.
Greenway scores his first goal in like 35 years. Yeah, so it's unbelievable.
Yeah. He was battling injury this year to be fair, but I think that 2 or 3 months ago, no one had him on their scorecard as being a contributor to this whole run, and there he was last night, battling on the sides. He's a big guy. I think you get a feeling for that when he's out there. Yeah. And he was using his size to his advantage, and that was a great shot that he had. And again, there you go, guys like that. You look at that team and you're going to zero in on Tuck, you're going to zero in on Thompson as being the guys that are going to put the puck in the net, and then they get contributions from everybody else.
Well, you can't just focus on a couple individuals on the Sabres because, and it's hard to believe that I'm saying this, there's just so much talent on the team. You look at the thing about this team that I love the most is you look at how much fun they're having together out there. You see Benson out there always smiling. He has a couple assists, and he's just playing lights out. You just see the whole team. When they were walking or skating off the ice at the end of the game, you just saw the looks on their faces, Tom, and how much you can see that they care for each other and how much they're enjoying themselves, and they're going to be hard to stop. Yeah,
and Lyons just dialed in. You saw him last night picking a couple pucks, out of the air with his mitt. His blocker is where it needs to be. He's totally in control of that crease.
Yeah.
He's a goalie right now that is really confident of his abilities, and I think that it translates to the rest of the team being confident in his abilities also.
Right. Well, they take control of the game right from the start, and again, it was almost like a reversal. What they did to Montreal is basically what Montreal kind of did to the Lightning in Game 7, where Montreal outshoots us by quite a bit. In fact, the Sabres only have one shot in the third period.
Right.
But, with what did they end up with? 16 shots, I think, and they get 4 goals out of those 16 shots.
If you can score on 25% of your shots on goal, you're going to win most of your games.
Right.
I mean, that's the reality of it. And, they had a lot of great chances. And, those goals were the result of great puck placement and just keen shooting eyes from the players.
Yeah. No, I don't want to jump ahead of myself and get too excited, and see this. I see this series, we called it earlier, everybody's called it, it's going to be a different type of series than the Boston series was. But, man, it just felt like Buffalo could take control. They get their goals early in Game 1, and third period, as I said, they just put that foot on the neck and said, the game is over, you're not going to score. Yeah. They took control of the game, and when Montreal pulled the goalie, I had no fear. that they were going to score. It just seemed Buffalo had it, and there was nothing that Montreal was going to do to win that game. So who knows what Game 2 is going to be? But I'll tell you, if we can somehow manage to get another victory in Game 2, Montreal is in trouble.
Yeah, the Canadians. You look at their series against the Lightning. They don't score a lot of goals. They really don't. They won. Every game in this series was a 1-point game. 3 of them went to overtime. So if you can score, consistently 3-4 goals on them, you have a good chance of winning this series.
You really do. And what was the talk before the series is how Montreal was going to just stop the Sabres from scoring. And as you said, they score on 25% of their shots in the game.
Yeah.
So I think that the Sabres are a different type of team. And I thought they showed during the regular season that they were better than the Lightning. And I just think they're a bigger team than Montreal. I think in the long run, I still think it's going to be a long series. That's why I don't want to get too far ahead of myself. I don't want to say, we're sweeping them because we won this game. I think Montreal, the thing about them is they do try to get that puck to the net any way possible. And they're going to get a lucky bounce.
Yeah,
they're going to win a couple games, I think, on a couple sloppy goals and a lucky bounce.
Yep.
So it's just going to happen.
Yeah, I think that Lindy Ruff in the presser after the game was really telling. One of the journalists asked him, what does it feel like to get so much production from your fourth line? He kind of smiled and said, how do you know they're our fourth line?
Oh, yeah.
How do you know they're not our second line? And that shows you his view of this team is that he can throw any line out there and expect production, and that's what's happening.
This team is just that. It's a definition of what a team is. There's yes, you have your superstars. You have Tuck, you have Thompson, but there's so many guys that are playing their role so well and contributing that if, as you said, if Thompson has an off day or if Tuck has an off day, there's going to be somebody. There's going to be Dome. There's going to be Benson. There's going to be somebody, and that's going to pick up the pieces.
Yeah,
and that's amazing.
Yeah, and if Thompson does get rolling,
my goodness,
all the better for them because we saw during the regular season what he's capable of, and if he, I think if he gets one or two, the dam might burst, as they say, and we could start to see him really flying around and doing what he does best, which is being in the right spot at the right time.
Yeah, well, that's what I say. If we can manage to win on Friday, if we're able to win Game 2, then all the pressure is on Montreal now. And they're a young team. They're both young teams, but you're a young team in the playoffs, and all of a sudden you're down 2-0 going into that crazy environment in Montreal. As you said, that's a tough place to play, but that if they go down 2-0 to Buffalo, then all the pressure is going to be on them. And say that's a game. Say Game 3, Thompson opens up with a goal or two and finally takes over, then you could see them possibly fall apart.
Montreal is often compared to the Yankees as a hometown where there's a lot of pressure to produce and to win. And you talk to any player who plays for the Yankees, they said one of the most difficult part about being a member of that team is the expectation of the fans and the press in the city to succeed. And Montreal very similar. There's going to be a lot of pressure on this team if they come back home down 2-0, and it's going to be very difficult, as you said, to handle that pressure. I think for a young team.
Right. Well, that's a good point because when you talk about the history in sports, Montreal is like when you think of other sports. Right. When you think of the NBA, you think of like the Celtics because of their long history, and you think of the Yankees in baseball. You think of the Green Bay Packers in football. Because of the long history. In Montreal, they are that really in hockey. A lot of people that don't particularly follow hockey, you say the Montreal Canadiens, they know who you're talking about.
Yeah, and they were the last Canadian team to win the Cup, and so now once again they've got the weight and the expectations of the entire nation on their shoulders. Because it's been a long time. I believe it was 94 or 93 last time a Canadian team won the Cup, and it was the Canadians. So now once again they're put in that position where it's bad enough they lost their sport in the Olympics. And now once again they're faced with the possibility of them lose their sport in the Stanley Cup playoffs too. An American team, especially one right across the river.
We're watching some videos and reading some comments on videos. It seems there are Canadian fans that have adopted Buffalo.
Yeah.
As their team now, possibly because the Sabres, as I say, one of the only teams that plays the Canadian national anthem. That got a lot of publicity when the crowd sang "Oh Canada," and I think especially if we can get through this series, I think you'll be looking at a lot of Canadian fans rooting for the Sabres to win the Cup, simply because the border's so close. We're the closest thing to being a Canadian team without being a Canadian team.
Right.
But again, it's so hard, Tom, and you gotta stop me because I'll do this. I get too far ahead of myself. I'm so excited right now, and isn't it great?
Yeah.
Isn't it, man? Isn't it great to be excited about the Sabres and hockey right now?
It's been a long time. But I think Coach Ruff he's a level head, and I think we're going to see that message being preached over the next couple of days. It's one game. We haven't won anything yet.
Yeah.
It's a long series. Put your head down, focus, keep the task, and let's just go out in shift by shift, period by period, get it done.
The only thing that bums me out is here we're playing in May, and although the sun's shining, it's like 45 degrees out right now. I mean, it's crazy. I'm wearing a sweatshirt.
Yeah.
It's like I thought that we'd be playing these games and we'd be in shorts and t-shirts.
There were some nice days during the Bruins series, but it's supposed to be back up in the 60s on Sunday for the game in Montreal. So hopefully all the fans down at Canal Side will have a nice environment to root. It didn't seem to dampen the spirits of people down there last night. There was another huge crowd, and I don't think as long as the Sabres win, you could be 20 below. And the Bills have shown us that fans really don't care. It's about the experience of the game.
I'm one of them. I'm out there and watching that meaningless Bills game in at the end of the season against the Jets in the last game of the stadium, freezing my butt off, but I didn't leave until everything was done because I wanted to see the end of the stadium. That's the fandom that we have in Buffalo. It's sports crazy. It's a great sports town. And I'm so proud of those fans too. And now we can say we have two really good teams, man. And I don't know if there's a sports community that deserves to have winning franchises as much as Buffalo, because this town has suffered.
Yeah, and I think that the players on the team are aware of that.
Yeah.
Obviously, they don't live in a vacuum. They know what it's been like here for the last 14 seasons, and I'm sure they're every bit as committed to bringing home a championship as they could be. And Lindy Ruff, has made that clear. He understands what the task is for the team, what it would mean to the community to do it, and I think he's rational enough to say the only way to get there is, as we said, one game at a time. Let's not get too far ahead of ourselves. Canadians are a good team. The odds are they're going to win at least one game of this series. Just we just got to keep moving ahead and play the way they played last night.
I'm still saying it's going to go 7. I really do. I as I said, I think Montreal is a good team, and I can see a couple pucks bouncing the wrong way, and it's going to be tough. But I think that this team has the fortitude and the commitment. Now, I'd love it to go 5 or something, like that, but I think it's going to be a longer series. And when you talk about Lindy, nobody knows more, I think, in as far as Buffalo sports than Lindy. He's been a part of the Buffalo sports scene for what, like 45 years?
Yeah.
Something like, as a player and as a coach, comes back and coaches again, and I'm just hoping that he gets the job done. Yeah. So that's going to do it for this edition. I will be back on Saturday to do a recap of Game 2. I'll have to do that solo, and Game 3 is Sunday, right? Am I right? So we'll be back on Monday together to do a table talk and review Game 3. So hopefully the next time that we get together, we'll be talking about a 3-0 series and a chance to finish it out.
Yeah.
But regardless of how it goes, man, you got to be excited, Sabres fans. You got to be excited for the way this team is playing and just the attitude of the team in general.
Enjoy the ride for as long as it lasts, because nothing is guaranteed. So, these games, I watched it in an establishment last night. It was pretty crowded, and just the energy and the excitement of the crowd, it was a lot of fun to be a part of. Because as you said, it's been many years since we've seen this.
Well, I was playing at a place, Ilio de Palos, actually, last night. I was playing, and there was another function going on next door. And I had told the people, in the event that we were doing, I'm like, please don't give me the score of the game because I'm going to watch it afterwards. And we just kept hearing them screaming next door, and I'm like, well, forget it. And then my wife is just, well, we're up 2-1, we're up 3, it's 4-1 now, and so it's just, and what, there's nothing you can do in a situation like that except for laugh, because what are you going to do? Tell people not to be excited?
Right.
It's just a great environment. So yeah, man, enjoy this while we have it. Enjoy every minute of it, guys. And I will see you on Saturday. And Tommy, I will see you on Monday. But if you guys would do me a favor and give us a like and a subscribe and leave a comment below, let us know how you're feeling about the series so far, what you think is going to happen. We would love to hear that. And hit the bell icon so you're notified when the videos are uploaded so you can watch them right away. But that's about it, Tom. And until I see you on Saturday,
go Sabres.
Let's do it, boys. Go Sabres.